If you wear glasses, you definitely know the drill. You get a new prescription, and for a little while, everything's crisp and clear. But then, it happens. Things start getting blurry again. It's this frustrating cycle, right? And it feels like it always ends with a stronger and stronger prescription. But what if we've been looking at this all wrong? What if the whole approach is missing the real problem?
I mean, that's a fantastic question, isn't it? The source material for this explainer just hits the nail on the head here. If these lenses were really correcting the issue, why would we need to keep getting stronger ones? It feels more like they're a band-aid, a crutch, not an actual cure.
And this isn't just happening to a few people. The source points out something pretty startling. By the time we're 45, most of us need glasses. That suggests there's this widespread, almost predictable decline going on. So what is really happening to our eyes?
Well, it turns out the answer might be found in a condition that your typical eye exam doesn't even test for. It's a problem that affects how we see the world, especially when the lights get dim.
Okay, so let's get into the core issue here. It's called contrast sensitivity loss. Now, this has nothing to do with reading black letters on a bright white chart. This is all about your eye's ability to tell the difference between similar shades. Think about trying to spot a gray cat in a dimly lit room. When that gets hard, it's a big sign that something's breaking down inside the retina.
And this is exactly why this problem just flies under the radar. Your optometrist tests your high contrast vision, with that classic black and white chart. But that's not the real world, is it? We live in a world of low contrast. So you can pass the test at the doctor's office with flying colors, but still really struggle to see clearly at dusk.
So why? Why does this happen? Why does our ability to see in these low contrast situations just seem to fade away over time? Well, to get that, we need to dive into the science of the eye and its pretty amazing built-in defense system.
This question right here is the key to the whole thing. See, our eyes are constantly being hit with high-energy light. And to deal with that, they have their own little internal bodyguards. And those bodyguards are, you guessed it, antioxidants.
Now, of all the colors of light out there, blue light is the one packing the most punch. It has the most energy, and that means it has the potential to do the most damage to the really sensitive tissues in our retinas. But our bodies are smart. They evolved a way to shield us from this.
And here they are, carotenoids. You can literally think of these as your eye's own internal sunglasses. These amazing antioxidants gather right in your retina, and they form this protective yellow shield that filters out that harmful blue light before it can cause any real damage.
But here's the catch. As we get older, the amount of these protective carotenoids goes down. And not just a little bit, a lot. As you can see from this chart, that dense shield you have when you're 20 is way thinner by the time you're 60.
And this is so crucial. With less of that protective shield, the efficiency of your retina, its ability to actually absorb and use light, just tanks. This directly explains why you might find yourself needing brighter and brighter lights to read as you get older. You're trying to make up for that loss of efficiency.
Okay, so we get the problem and we get the cause. But now for the really exciting part. According to the source material, this isn't some kind of one-way street to bad vision. There are actual things we can do to help rebuild that natural protection. This quote really gets right to the heart of the first solution. Our eyes evolved for natural sunlight, not for the artificial blue light-heavy glow of our screens, especially in dark rooms. Our whole modern lifestyle is basically working against our biology.
So getting regular, sensible exposure to natural sunlight is incredibly good for us. Sunlight has infrared light, which is actually healing for the eyes. It also helps your eyes produce their own melatonin. And no, not just for sleep. Melatonin is one of the most powerful antioxidants there is, protecting your cells from damage. So besides sunlight, you can directly rebuild that carotenoid shield. The source lays out a pretty specific protocol, at least 10 milligrams of lutein and 2 milligrams of zeaxanthin. And here's a pro tip. These are fat-soluble, so you've got to take them with the meal that has some healthy fat. Think olive oil or avocado to make sure you absorb it all.
Your diet is also a huge piece of the puzzle, but the source makes it clear that food quality is everything. For instance, pasture-raised egg yolks, they are packed with these protective carotenoids, but commercial eggs have way less. Same story with fish. You want that good omega-3 DHA from fatty fish, not the inflammatory omega-6 you find in all those processed seed oils. And let's get specific about what to watch out for. These common seed oils, they're in everything. Salad dressings, mayo, most processed foods are super high in omega-6 fatty acids. The source explains that these can actually get in the way of your retinal health. So why are those omega-3s so important? Well, get this. The retina is literally an extension of your brain. It's made of the exact same stuff. And just like your brain, it needs a very specific fatty acid called DHA to build a structure and just work correctly. And you get that from things like fatty fish and cod liver oil.
So, when you put all this together, more sunlight, the right supplements, a diet full of the good stuff and none of the bad, we start to shift away from just putting a Band-Aid on bad vision, and we move towards actively restoring it.
And this isn't just a hopeful theory. The source points to research that showed major improvements in contrast sensitivity in as little as 12 weeks. Just 12 weeks after people started taking lutein and zeaxanthin. That's only 3 months to see a real, measurable difference.
And that, right there, is really the bottom line. This widespread decline in our vision, it isn't just an inevitable part of getting older. It seems to be a direct result of this mismatch between what our eyes were designed for, the natural world, and the world we actually live in, a world of screens and indoor lighting.
And that leaves us with one last question to think about. Is the future of vision really about getting a stronger lens, or is it about building a stronger eye? All the evidence seems to suggest that through some simple changes to light, to nutrition, to our lifestyle, we have way more power than we think to protect and maybe even restore our own sight.